So today I'm going to be showing you how to check for admin privileges in Office 365. The reason I'm showing you this today is because it's becoming a bigger and bigger problem. Cyber criminals are becoming more savvy, they're getting better at stealing your passwords, they're getting better at mimicking and pretending to be major corporations like Microsoft. This means that they're more easily tricking people out of their Office 365 passwords. That could be you, that could be your staff, because unfortunately staff are the weak link in the cybersecurity chain. You need to check for changes in admin privileges because when a hacker gets hold of your password, they're going to use your password to get access to all of your data. What's going to happen is they usually target someone high up in the business, such as a managing director. Because managing directors like to have control over all of their data, they're usually what's called a global admin. Global admin usually has access to all of the data on their system, they usually have all of the privileges, they can see what everyone's doing, they can change everything on the system. If a hacker gets hold of a global admin account, that's basically game over. They'll be able to see all of your bank details, your financials, your emails, your customer data, your supplier data, you name it, they can see it. Once in, they're going to use their privileges as a global admin to snoop and change settings so that they can see everything you're doing. They won't strike straight away, they're going to wait until they have the optimum amount of data to cause you the optimum amount of damage. They will bring you down from the inside and they're willing to play the long game. If they can't get global admin access straight away, they'll infiltrate their way through a lower level of admin, using their powers to slowly change their admin privileges so they can gradually access more and more of your data. All of this is going to happen in the background and you won't even know about it because you've willingly given over your password, thinking that you're giving it over to a legitimate corporation such as Microsoft. Unfortunately, human error is involved in 95% of cybersecurity cases, and if you were to get rid of everyone who made a slip up like that, then let's be honest, you'd have no staff left. But what you can do is you can track down and take out the hackers before they become a problem and do you too much damage. That's what I'm going to show you today. I'm going to show you how to check your admin privileges so you don't fall foul of this kind of cyber attack. We're doing this today because we had a client who nearly lost £121,000. What happened was he gave away his password to what he thought was Microsoft. The hacker used this password to infiltrate his system and sit in the background as he was a global admin and watch him for months. They watched his emails, they watched his financials, they watched his data. But what they did in this case is they used his emails and his privileges to send an email pretending to be him to one of his clients asking for £121,000. Now, because they knew exactly how he typed and how he wrote, because they've been watching him for months, the client didn't suspect a thing because he was talking exactly the same way he would and he was asking for the money in the same way he usually would. The client went to pay that money. Thankfully, the client didn't pay it all in one go and only paid £38,000. When our client realised what was going on and that he'd been infiltrated by hackers and that one of his clients had been scammed out of £38,000, he felt absolutely awful because it was his fault that this client had lost £38,000. As a result, he paid the client back in full because he couldn't afford to lose that client. It was one of his biggest clients, and if he'd have lost it, he would have lost the business. So to avoid damaging his reputation and losing his business, he had to pay £38,000. This could have all been avoided if he'd had the right security measures in place. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to show you how to check for admin privileges in Office 365. So the first thing you need to do is you need to navigate to portal.office.com. Once there, you should have a screen a little bit like this pop up, and there might be some accounts already on there, but what you need to do is you need to log in with an account that has global admin access. So I'm going to log in with my account here, type in your password and click sign in. Once you're here, you need to navigate to the admin center. So you can either do that by clicking admin here in your apps bar, or if it's not there, you can navigate over to the left hand side, click on this blue square, the menu should appear, and then just scroll down to here and click on admin. If you've been successful in getting to the admin portal, something like this should pop up. But what we're interested in is this that menu on the left hand side, and you want to click on users, and then you want to click on active users. Once here, you'll see a list of every single one of the emails within your business. This is the first place we're going to check for admin privileges. What you want to do is you want to come up here and where it says views and it says all users, you want to click on this drop down menu, and this is going to show you all the different kinds of admins that we have here. So if I was to click on global admin, all my global admins would appear. If I was to click on password admins, we don't have any password admins, but if you have password admins, they'd appear here. And what you need to do is you need to check every one of these admins and user types. So just looking at that list here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 if you wanted to add a custom view. So that's 16 different types of user and admin that you need to check for changes. So let's try billing admins. You need to check for every single one of your billing admins. You need to check for every single one of your service admins. You need to check for guest users, user management admins. I mean, the list goes on. As you can see, you have to check every single one of those. Unfortunately, this isn't the only place that you need to check for admins. Unfortunately, you need to check every single one of your user accounts individually to check for their role as an admin. So if you go back up to this drop-down menu here and click again on All Users. So for the purposes of this video, I'm going to look at this demo email address. So if I click on that, the box on the right-hand side should pop up here with a lot of information. And what you need to look at is the roles here. This is going to show you whether they have any other admin roles. So in this particular case, it says user, no admin access. So that's fine. If they were to be, say, a global administrator, it would say global administrator here. And if you want to edit it, you can edit what kind of administration access they have here. But what you need to do is you need to check this for every single one of those emails that you have over here on the left-hand side. You could have tens or hundreds. The other thing that you need to do is that you need to do these checks every 2 hours. So you need to go through the list of admins that I showed you up here. You need to check every single one of these lists every 2 hours for any changes. You also need to go back here and you need to check every single user for their roles every single 2 hours. Just think about how much manpower that's going to take. To check every single one of your users for changes in admin privileges, it really is a mammoth task. But what we've done, because we've seen a need for this product, is we've developed a cutting-edge service that can scan for these changes in admin privileges in the background every 2 hours all by itself, and you don't need to do anything for it. We're charging £10 a month for businesses that have less than 25 users and £20 a month for businesses who have more than 25 users. When you think that you could be scammed out £38,000 or £121,000, it's really a no-brainer. How much is it going to cost for you to employ someone to do this manually every single 2 hours? That's employing someone full-time. So why would you say no?